Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. All right, we are live, and it is May 7th, 2025. We're going to talk about what's happening in India, Pakistan. I think it's pressing, and I think it's biblical events that are taking place. And I look at this stuff, the way I look at this is that I truly believe this, and I've said this before, and a lot of people don't like me saying this, that I believe that the Antichrist is alive and well. And I've said this multiple times. And we're seeing more evidence of that every day. Now, with that said, I do believe that we are living in biblical times, not the last day, okay? Not the last day or the last hour, but I do believe that we are in the last days where we're seeing biblical events unfold. We're seeing wars and rumors of wars, and a lot of people believe now that this is going to be the time where World War III could possibly happen. It could possibly happen here. I can't say that it's not going to happen, and I can't say that it will happen. But if things keep going the way they are, it possibly will happen. And most definitely, we don't want that to take place. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you would, please, 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 if you're watching this on Rumble, I'm going to ask you, please hit the thumbs up. More people will tune in because you hit the thumbs up. It's like a vote for the video. Same thing on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up. Even if you're watching this on the replay. Currently, right now, we are live. It's 11 o'clock Central Time Zone right now. And if you're watching this on YouTube as well, please hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on Facebook, please share this video. I truly believe that what we're going to see, I don't know, but I do believe that if it does escalate and we see some one of the nations that use a nuke, because both India and Pakistan, they both have nuclear capable weapons, and if either one of them decides to set it off, it's going to cause major conflicts. Now, China, I believe China is involved in all of this too. Because think about this. President Trump has made so many major changes. For example, one of the major changes that President Trump has done with these tariffs is getting China to do right by the United States of America. And China, of course, they don't want to do right by us. They don't want to do right by the United States of America. So President Trump is forcing them to do right. Well, as a result of President Trump doing this, you have companies like Apple and other companies moving their services there to India. China is not an ally with India. The United States of America, they are an ally of India. And that's part of the reason why some of these companies are moving their services, building products to India away from China because they can get around the tariffs. I don't blame them. I completely understand. But this is not going to make China happy. So what can China do? China very well could get them to start off a war, because then it becomes a conflict. There was other things that happened, even like with COVID took place. A lot of people had their speculation, and we can get into that, about how when President Trump was in office the first time, what took place to stop President Trump. They wanted to get President Trump to be able to crush the economy. And they believe that China did that to stop President Trump during that time, because President Trump was making major waves on the planet. Now, I have some stuff that I want to share with you. And this escalation that is breaking out in Pakistan, India right now, I believe, again, that is on a biblical scale. So on May 6, 2025, India launched an operation they called Sindoor, a military strike against 9 terrorist sites in Pakistan and areas it controls in Kashmir. This is a response to a terrible attack on April 22nd, where 26 Hindu tourists, not terrorists, but tourists, were killed in India, Kashmir. India believes a terrorist group based in Pakistan called Lashkar-e-Taiba, I think I'm saying it right, was behind it. India is sending a strong message that it won't tolerate terrorism because when it comes, especially when it comes across their border. You know, I kind of wish that the Democrats were the same way when we have the terrorists coming across our southern border, that they would say, we're not going to tolerate this at all. But they do just the opposite. It's just the opposite when it comes to the Democrats here in the United States of America. Pakistan called India's action an act of war, but many sees it as an attempt to avoid blame, allowing the terrorists to operate within its borders, talking about Pakistan. Even the United Nations is calling on Pakistan to shut down these terrorist camps. You know, the same terrorist camps that Pakistan is denying exist. The United Nations is saying Pakistan shut them down, but they refuse to shut them down. And and talk things out peacefully before the situation gets worse. Now, this was yesterday that the United Nations was reaching out to Pakistan, telling them to do this. Actually, before then, even, but it's already escalated even more. President Trump has spoke about this issue, urging both sides to find a peaceful solution. Now, I have a video, and I believe it's this video that I have for you from President Trump in his first term, where there was conflict between Pakistan and India during that time, and President Trump was saying something, different during that time. But President Trump, because we shouldn't get involved in this conflict, but nuclear capability, President Trump probably has a different opinion about it this time. At the same time, President Trump continues to stand with India's right to protect itself from the terrorists. He's standing with them, just like Israel. Israel has every right to defend themselves against terrorist attacks. And of course, the radical left, these liberals, they don't believe that anybody else should be able to defend themselves and protect themselves. But nonetheless, here we are. This situation is another example of how dangerous state support terrorism can be. India is taking a strong stance to protect its citizens. Now it's time for the world to hold Pakistan accountable and work together to stop terrorism for the good and to keep peace in the region. The world should be, a lot of people don't like this either. The world should be standing with Israel against the terrorist attacks that happened to them. You remember October 7th? Remember what happened there? And I haven't seen any of the Democrats as of yet come out saying that they're supporting Pakistan. But if they follow the same pattern, they're going to come out and support a Pakistan. If they follow the same pattern, they may not follow the same pattern here, but I suspect that they will. We shall see. We shall see in the days to come. Now, like I said, I do have some information about all of this, and I want to share this first clip with you about what's happening between India and Pakistan. And I have one video with this young man, and it's a pretty long video, but it goes into a very good detailed explanation of what's taking place. But let me share this one with you first.
If India and Pakistan went to war today, the world wouldn't stay silent. Pakistan might get backing from China, not just because of geography, but to challenge India's economic growth, especially after Trump's tariffs on China, which led many companies to relocate their operations. India has emerged as a prime destination for these relocations. Turkey could also support Pakistan, especially over its stance on Kashmir. And while Saudi Arabia has deep ties with Pakistan, it may hesitate, balancing between economic interests and regional stability. On the other side, India would likely receive strong diplomatic support from the United States, especially with growing defense and tech partnerships. France could also back India thanks to billion-dollar defense deals. And even Russia, despite recent ties with Pakistan, has a decades-old military relationship with India that's hard to ignore. But here's the truth. Most countries wouldn't rush into battle. They'd push for de-escalation, because with two nuclear powers, even one wrong move could shake the entire world. If India and Pakistan went...
This could reshape the entire world. And actually, there's another video I saw that was a lot longer, where it talked about how, with China, how they're allies with Pakistan and a lot of the more resources, and with all of the tariffs, it's really something to see happening right now. And it's not like I'm scared or fearful, because I believe in God, right? But we have to be concerned about what we're seeing here. You have to be concerned. because they have nukes. And if Pakistan uses a nuke against India, or if India uses a nuke against Pakistan, at some point, there's going to be major conflict. There's going to be major conflict when we see this. Let me share this video with you for President Trump. This is President Trump, and I'm looking at him in this. Split screen it for me. Looking at him in this, it appears that President Trump, this was his first term. I'm pretty sure this was his first term because he looks a lot younger here even. And you can hear this New York accent coming out in him. And apparently, they've been having conflict in Pakistan, India for this is not the first time. They've been having it for many years. And there was a conflict last time when President Trump was in office, and President Trump was basically saying, let them fight. Why do we have to get involved? And I vaguely remember this because President Trump was like, let them fight. Let them go. You can hear the New Yorker in him, like, let them fight. Y'all hear what I'm talking about in a second. And he's saying, let them duke it out. And I'm kind of, somewhat in agreement with him. Long as if they're not going to use any nukes, so let's just say they all agree not to use any nukes, then I'm in agreement with President Trump 100%. And I'm pretty sure this is what President Trump was saying too. Don't use any nukes, but go ahead and fight it out. Get it out the system. Go ahead and get it over with. Fight. Why do we got to get involved? Just don't use any nukes.
And they're fighting each other. I said, why don't you let them fight? Why are we getting in the middle of it? I said, let them fight. Sir, we want to do it. They go in and they end up fighting both of them. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Let them fight.
Y'all see that? President Trump is saying, let them fight. President Trump is saying, let them fight. What do y'all think? What do you think? Should the United States of America get involved in the conflict? Or would you agree we should just let them fight? I mean, I think I'm pretty much in agreement that we should just let them fight. Shannon, can you copy that number 4 over from your laptop? So I agree. I think I'm in agreement that President Trump should just let them fight. Now, President Trump, that was his first term. President Trump, he's not saying, I don't think that he's saying anything different. He just doesn't want them to use nukes. I don't think anybody wants them to use nukes. But you know what I find interesting is that you have the United Nations, you have these other organizations, woke organizations, saying that we need to come to terms. We need to bring peace in this. But I believe they're just saying that because the public is looking, watching. The United Nations, me personally, I think the United Nations and a lot of these other organizations, they want to depopulate the earth. And one of the quickest ways to do that is through war. It's through war. And I think that's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to do that, to depopulate the earth, and they want to make it look like that's not what they want to do. But I truly believe that's what they want to do. Okay, so now, here's President Trump talking about the conflict now between India and Pakistan.
Has there been any reaction to the attacks between India and Pakistan?
No, it's a shame. We just heard about it just as we were walking in the doors of the Oval. Just heard about it. I guess people knew something was going to happen based on a little bit of the past. They've been fighting for a long time. They've been fighting for many, many decades and centuries, actually, if you really think about it. No, I just hope it ends very quickly.
And of course, I think President Trump, he's a different president this time, and he doesn't want them to set off nukes. See, President Trump, he's actually bringing peace, right? He's bringing the conflict with Russia and Ukraine down. So what happens here I believe, and this is my personal opinion, that China is behind this because China won a proxy war because of what President Trump is doing with the tariffs. And of course, the Democrats, they're going to blame President Trump for this. Shannon, have you seen them say anything yet? Have they said anything about this is Trump's fault? I can only imagine it's a matter of time before they do that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, but that's how these people think. They think if something's going wrong, if there's work happening somewhere, it has to be Trump's fault, right?
Yeah, it has
Trump's
to
the
be
bad
Trump's
one.
fault. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, it's Trump's
But
fault.
we'll see, because honestly, Pakistan and India have been fighting for a long time. This isn't something new. There is an escalation because, like you said, the concern is they both have nuclear power. And so if everybody's pride gets in the way, including China's, because China, instead of bowing down to Trump and his tariffs, he may say, our way out is to get into a war and back, what is it, India or Pakistan? Who are
Yeah.
they? Pakistan?
Well, China backs Pakistan,
Right.
which
But Russia
has been reported by the United Nations, which harbors terrorist groups. The United Nations asked Pakistan to get rid of these terrorist groups, and Pakistan, apparently they refuse to do so, and these terrorist groups end up attacking India, and now India is having to retaliate. Now, I can't remember this young man's name. I've seen him around quite often, but he did an excellent video, and I'm just going to play it for you. He did an excellent video that's explaining all of this to a T, because I don't keep up with India, Pakistan.
Right, yeah.
You know what? I look at the United States of America, and I really keep up with the United States of America, and I'm not knocking him for keeping up with this information.
And Israel,
but this
we
is
keep
really
up
good,
with
huh?
Israel. We keep up with Israel and stuff like that. But yeah, the Pakistan India thing, we haven't really paid attention to. But this guy, he informed us well.
Yes.
So we want to share it with you.
And I want to share this with you. Listen to this information that he shares.
India just bombed Pakistan. India literally just attacked Pakistan, and this is not good. This attack was a reaction to what happened on 22nd when 5 militants from Pakistan terrorist group come in and killed 26 only men. They allowed their wives to live. They killed 26 men, letting the women know, go show Modi what we did. They had the folks who said, what religion are you? I'm Hindu. Boom, killed them. What religion are you? I'm Muslim. Oh, really? Yeah. Why don't you tell me the Islamic kalima? They don't have it. Boom, kill them. Now, why does this matter? Because when you think about the top countries in the world with the most nuclear arsenal, you know where Pakistan and India are? Neck and neck. 1/6 place, which is India with 172. The other is 170. And by the way, do you know how a Pakistani official just responded to Al Jazeera named Faisal Kundi? You know what he said about nuclear weapons? Listen to this. Our nuclear bombs are not meant to be displayed in museums. We will use them if attacked by India. All is fair in love and in war. He said this on April 30th. Today's the attack by India. This could escalate like this. And the reason why this has happened, a lot of people are talking about going back to, hey, when you think about, is this like a World War III possibility? Because we can't have those two guys go at it. Or is this more like Cold War, what happened where Russia was communism and they were behind all the Korean War, Vietnam War, all the, even some of the war that was happening with the Iran-Contra, they're behind of it? Or is this more like, in this situation, China's behind everything because they're instigating Pakistan? Is U.S. all of a sudden going to get involved with this? Russia's kind of involved because they got a very good relationship with India. 60% of the military equipment that India uses, they bought from Russia, and 40% of the oil that Russia sells, India is the customer. So there's a very interesting dynamic going on here. We're going to talk about that today. Okay, so if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you want the notes, stick around till the end. I'll tell you how to get it on a circle that we have on Monex. So why should you and I care about this as an American? If you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, why should you care about this? The reason why this is a little bit scary for a lot of people is because China is not happy with what's going on with tariffs. Trust me, no one is feeling the pain more than China. Nobody is. 22nd, those Muslim terrorists from Pakistan attack the 26 people and kill them. 25th, Apple comes out and announces we're moving our 60 million iPhones away from China and we're going to go to India. Even though they had announced it on April 7th earlier that they're thinking about it, but the 25th, it becomes official. You think they're happy? Then Dell, HP, bunch of other people are announcing that they're leaving China. This is not a good thing for China. China's sitting on saying, holy moly, what are we going to do about this? By the way, some people are calling this as a possibility of the last time the Wuhan lab, a virus has leaked out of the Wuhan lab, but China didn't do it.
We don't know the definitive answer to that.
It comes from China.
And then the entire world shut down. This could be one of the ways of China's temper tantrum, saying, you don't know what kind of power we got? Watch what we're going to do. You want to move your stuff to India? We're going to poke Pakistan into going and attacking India. And we're going to make your life a living hell. Behind closed doors, proxy type of wars that may be happening. So before we go through all these points that I have, I think it's important for us to know the history of why do people from Pakistan, Muslims, and people from India, Hindu, why do they hate each other as much as they do? So in 1947, British India was divided in two different independent states. India, majority Hindu, and you got Pakistan, majority Muslim. The division was chaotic and violent, leading to mass migration of millions and the deaths of estimated 1 to 2 million people. Kashmir, a princely state with a Muslim majority population but ruled by a Hindu Maharaja, became the immediate flashpoint. So Maharaja initially wanted to stay independent, but faced with an invasion by Pakistani tribal forces, he acceded to India. So majority Muslim, but Hindus running it, so they acceded to India, which is kind of interesting, problematic, similar to Donbass, Crimea, or even Gaza, West Bank. Hey, it's ours. No, it's ours. No, so Nagorno-Karabakh also in Armenia. So no, it's Azerbaijan. No, it's Armenia. That constant battle that's taking place, similar situation here. So that led to the first Kashmir War that started in 1947 and ended in 1949 with a UN-brokered ceasefire, which caused Kashmir to be divided, which is Indian-administrated Kashmir and a Pakistani-administered Kashmir, referred to by Pakistan as the Azad Kashmir. So that's the first war. Then we have the second war that starts in 1965. Again, Kashmir. Pakistan attempted to foment insurgency in India. Kashmir resulted in a full-scale war between India and Pakistan. Ceasefire brokered by Tashkent Agreement, again, mediated by the Soviet Union. Little territorial change, but deepened hostility. Then that led to the Bangladesh Liberation War, 1971, when East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, sought independence from West Pakistan. India supported Bangladesh independence fighters. War resulted in the creation of Bangladesh, a humiliating defeat for Pakistan with 90,000 of their troops. We're talking 90,000 of troops surrendering. And by the way, keep in mind, we can go to the Kargil War in 1999. We can talk about the different terrorist attacks. We can talk about what happened in 2001 with the parliament attack when terrorists attacked the Indian parliament, nearly triggering another war. We can talk about the Mumbai attacks in 2008, which militants from Pakistani base, Lashkar al-Taibi, killed over 170 people. They also attacked the Taj Mahal Hotel, which I visited before in Mumbai. It's a beautiful property right on the water, and massive international outrage followed. You can also talk about the Pulwama attack, 2019, suicide bombing killed 40 Indian soldiers in Kashmir. India responded with airstrikes in Balakot, Pakistan. This is constant. And then it leads to the nuclear development, where they said, look, man, if we're going to be doing this, we got to make sure we're ready for this. 1974, India tested its first nuclear device, Smiling Buddha. 1988, both India and Pakistan officially tested nuclear weapons. Then post-1998, fear of conventional wars escalating into nuclear exchanges became a constant concern. And obviously, this most recent attack on April 22nd, people are like, wait a minute, what are we doing with this? Modi responded to the attacks on April 22nd. Here's what he said on Twitter. I strongly condemn the terror attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. Condolences to those who have lost their loved ones. I pray that the injured recover at the earliest. All possible assistance is being provided to those affected. Those behind this heinous act will be brought to justice. They will not be spared. Their evil agenda will never succeed. Our resolve to fight terrorism is unshakable, and it will get even stronger. April 22nd, 2025, at the time, 33.5 million views. Everybody's watching what this man had to say. So now Modi is saying this, and then Pakistan comes on and says, well, listen, we're denying this. We were not behind this. We didn't do anything like this. This is not us. This is a terrorist organization. We would not do something like this to India. This is not something we want for it to be escalating, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, you can either believe him or not believe him, but typically when this happens, Pakistan likes to say, we were not the ones behind. So now we have to think about what the response is. Obviously, India just bombed Pakistan, but we got to think about what else happened. Number one, terror response. India played severe retaliation, potentially military or covert, and accused Pakistan of state-sponsored terrorism. The attack was claimed by a group linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba. I talked about it earlier. Number 2, water issue. Watch this one here. Water treaty suspended. India puts the Indus Water Treaty on hold, citing Pakistan continued support for terrorism. This threatens Pakistan's critical water supply and raises tensions immediately. And Pakistan comes back and says, wait a minute, if we're dealing with water, this is a treaty that we signed a long time ago in 1960 between India and Pakistan, a water distribution agreement that allocates the use of Indus River and its tributaries between the two countries. It was brokered by the World Bank and divided the rivers into western rivers, Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, for Pakistan, and eastern rivers, Ravi, Beas, Sutlej for India. Pakistan labeled this with the water as an act of war and a violation of one of its nuclear red lines. That's what Pakistan said about the water. Number 3, land travel block. India shut down border crossings and ordered Pakistani nationals to leave. Pakistani mirrored the action. Bus and train links had already been suspended. Number 4, airspace closed. Both countries banned each other's airlines from using their airspace. The ban is in place until May 24th, possibly longer. Number 5, sea access blocked. All ship travel between India and Pakistan is banned. Each side has blocked access to their ports for the other's vessels. Number 6, visas canceled. India revoked nearly all visas for Pakistanis, including medical ones, and ended the SAARC visa program. Pakistan did the same. Number 7, diplomatic expulsions. India expelled Pakistani defense attaches and cut embassy staff by nearly half. Pakistan responded identically and suspended the Simla agreement, which underpins the line of control framework. Number 8, trade and financial pressures. Pakistan suspended all trade with India. India, unaffected economically, instead pushed for FATF sanctions and IMF loan reviews to choke Pakistan financially. Number 9, sports cut off all sports ties. High-profile gestures of goodwill were retracted following the terror attack. Number 10, social media bans. India blocked Pakistani YouTube channels, social media accounts of celebrities, and even ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan's account, citing national security concerns. 11, military posturing. India conducted missile tests and increased military presence along the line of control, which is kind of like the border between the two. That's where we're doing the testing. It's like, hey, here's what we're doing. Just watch this. Be ready. Something may happen. And guess what Pakistan did? Same exact thing. 12, internal lockdowns. India has detained over 2,000 individuals in Kashmir under anti-terrorism laws and demolished homes of suspected militants, actions that have drawn criticism for human rights violations. Now, here's the thing that Pakistan has. There's something they call the nuclear doctrine and red lines, meaning if you cross the line. Remember how earlier we talked about in this water treaty that they had many years ago from 1960? That's one of them. Next one, territorial laws. Red lines. That means we're going to use our nuclear weapon on you. Military destruction, economic strangulation, political destabilization, and internal subversion. Guess what? One could say all of these are happening right now. You know what's crazy about this whole thing? Think about India and Pakistan, right? Imagine who is the last country you would think in the Middle East to say, hey guys, you got to pump the brakes and find a way to control and exercise restraint. What is the last country in the Middle East that you think would say that to India and Pakistan? You ready? Iran. Iran's foreign minister urging both nations to exercise restraint. You know how weird that it's like a criminal that's killed 29 people, gone to jail, he's killed a bunch of your guys. Like, look, man, you don't need to do this. This isn't the right thing to do. Bro, what are you talking about? Iran's telling them, don't fight. Even the UN Security Council discussing the issue and calling for de-escalation and dialogue. Everybody is concerned that this could get nasty. So let me step back and kind of process this here together with you. Let's go to the positive and then let's talk about the negative. Right? What's the positive? Right here, you're sitting there saying, well, what side is Russia on? Is Russia on Pakistan's side? Because Russia and China, BRICS, they should be on the same side together, right? Well, no, BRICS is also India, but then China and Russia, are they not going to have an issue together? Is Xi going to be able to call Putin and say, hey, you better stay out of this one? Is Putin going to say, I don't know about this, man. India, 60% of their military supply comes from me. India, 40% of oil they buy from me. I'm sanctioned by a lot of different guys, but these guys are still doing business with me. I'm going to be on India's side. You better not be on their side. Who else is going to be on Pakistan's side? Think about that. China is pissed off because India is getting the business. And if this thing gets even uglier, could U.S. have to get involved? And this leads to the whole thing with Russia, Cold War, U.S. communism. I don't know, but this is something definitely to follow very, very closely because, again, China is desperate. On the big stage, if China goes and they're seen sitting down with Xi, in their eyes, it's a loss because they lose face in front of their people. Their pride doesn't want to get them to fly to DC, Pennsylvania Avenue, sit down and have a conversation with President Trump, J.D. Vance, Lutnick, and others, because again, they don't want that. Just a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, they said, we're willing to have talks with U.S. as long as they're willing to be respectful to us. This isn't about respectful. This is getting nasty. And anytime somebody gets desperate, I was always told many years ago, never recruit desperate salespeople because they will misrepresent because they need to pay the bills. Never. Always make sure your sales guys have money in the bank. Always make sure your sales guys' marriage is good. Always make sure your sales guys are doing okay. Because if they don't have money in the bank, marriage isn't good, they will misrepresent and sell anything because they're in a desperate place that could lead to compliance issues. China's that salesperson.
Yes, China's that salesperson. Wow. So I hope you enjoyed that, because there was a lot of information in there, and I just wanted to share all of it. Because again, you know, I never really paid that much attention to Pakistan, India. And when I first, let me say this really quick, when I first heard about all of this conflict going on, because of what happened on my Facebook page just over a year ago, my Facebook page was hacked. And it was hacked by people that, and they're labeled that they're from Pakistan/India. And they hacked my page. And I'm like, should I just like not care? But I actually do, because I have friends that I call friends, colleagues, work colleagues, that have family members in India, and that I became really close with them when I was living in California. So not everybody from India is a scammer. Not everyone there is a scammer. Not everyone is trying to get over on people. Not all of them trying to do the wrong thing. So with that said, when I heard about this story and these hackers that hacked my page on Facebook and just did so much damage to me, to where they won't even allow my Facebook page to get monetized any longer because of what the hackers did, that's from Pakistan, India. And now they're having this major conflict, which again, I don't want the conflict to happen either. So I want to tell you about this coffee. You want to do that, Shannon? Talk about this coffee? Pretty awesome.
We're going to talk about this coffee, Will. Let me get it up here on the screen for everybody to see. There it is right there on the screen. Let's see. It says, if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit has dropped only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, also you're getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's political opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 plow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I could talk about, I almost opened up the phone lines just to get people to call in and tell me what they think about all of this, with Pakistan, India. And then I saw another video, or I was listening to a report. Actually, you were listening to it, Shannon, and I overheard you listening to it, talking about the Pope. It looks like they're on the verge of getting a new Pope.
Yep.
And it's not President Trump, everybody. Okay. It was just a joke. But it looks like they're on the verge of getting a new Pope. And it just made me think about wars and rumors of wars and famine and pestilence and all of the different things that's happening on the planet and this evilness and this wickedness that's happening. And then they're going to come up with a new pope. And I remember having a conversation with someone who is Catholic, and this was years ago. And this person was Catholic. This person no longer with us. And they were saying that they believe that I think they were saying the last pope or this pope here could very well be the last pope for the Catholic Church, meaning that this pope would be the false prophet. And I was thinking to myself, it's kind of weird hearing this coming from a person who is Catholic themselves. But they were thinking that. And I just find it kind of interesting that, that was the case. But I don't know. I'm not Catholic, but today they're supposed to. And I do know one thing, because I remember seeing it before, where the smoke comes out of the chimney. And if they do have a new pope, it comes out white. But if they don't have a new pope and they can't agree on the pope that they want, then it comes out black. Or they do a vote and I guess they go back in negotiations, kind of like, give me this and give me that. Then it goes back. You're Catholic. You used to be Catholic, Shannon. So you know a little bit more about this than I do.
Well, actually, what's going to happen today, I was actually listening to that report, as you said, and they were saying that they're going to do one vote tonight about 6:00 their time. And if they don't have one today, then they will do 4 votes tomorrow, and then 4 votes the next day, and then 4 votes the next day until they've decided on who their pope is. It's not my pope, it's their pope.
It's not your pope.
It's not my pope.
Yeah, you're not taking claim, huh? You're not taking claim. Okay, let me change it up a little bit. Let's come back to the United States of America if we can do that. Here in the United States of America, we still have an issue with immigration. And the Democrats have been fighting for Trade de Agua, fighting for MS-13. And one of the things that they're saying now is that these illegals that are getting deported that have children, the Democrats are saying that you cannot deport the children. Well, if the mother is leaving and the mother wants the child to go with her, then the child goes with her. That's the way it works. But the Democrats are wanting the illegals to say, don't do that. You get to stay in America because your child is an American citizen because they were born in America. It's that anchor baby. So they can't force you to leave. Well, Tom Homan and President Trump and this federal government is not playing around with it.
Boy, I don't even want to use it. They're illegal aliens. Okay, that's what they are. But the 3 of them who are still on the loose, your message to them tonight.
We're coming for them. And these are the type, I want to explain something. These are the type of people that AOC brags while I'm educating people to their constitutional rights. We all know what she's doing. She's educating illegal alien criminals how to invade law enforcement. But now I'm going to do a little education myself. You don't want to open the door. You don't want to answer a question. You don't want to help us with the travel documents and get you removed. That's a violation of Title 8, United States Code 1253. It is a crime. And we're going to start prosecuting those crimes tomorrow. So if you got a final order and you want to hinder your removal, you want to put roadblocks up and not cooperate, you want to hide, you want to not open the door, then the agency's going to start prosecuting you criminally. Then after you get out of jail from that prosecution, then we'll deport you. Game's over. We're going to look for these public safety threats, and we're going to take them off the streets in New York and every other sanctuary city. As a matter of fact, every sanctuary city, we're going to triple the workforce. We're going to flood the zone with officers. If we can't arrest them in jail, we'll arrest them.
Hold on, you hear this? He says, we're going to triple the workforce. We're going to triple the workforce, meaning that they're going to get them. In these sanctuary cities, in the sanctuary cities, they have these lawyers, these judges, these school teachers, just even some law enforcement in these blue woke cities. They're actually saying that if ICE shows up, to fight against them, to push against them. Now, they've already arrested 3 judges now. 2 judges have been arrested. I heard about another one early this morning. A second judge was arrested for helping out an illegal criminal evade ICE. So I'm hoping that when Tom Homan sends in more enforcement and go into these blue cities and blue states, that every single Democrat out there that is wanting to fight President Trump for cleaning up the streets of America, I hope that you fight against Tom Homan. I'm hoping for it because you're going to get caught. And when you get caught, you're going to be arrested. So by all means, do what you got to do. Because you're not going to be following the law. You're going to be breaking the law, and that gives them every right to arrest you. So I encourage every single Democrat, when ICE comes, you do your part and prevent ICE from doing their jobs.
Arrest them in the community. If we can't arrest them in the community, we'll arrest them at their work site. We're going to triple work site enforcement operations. We're going to flood the zone. We're going to take these public safety threats off the streets with your help or without your help.
Now, speaking of AOC, Tom, she actually mentioned you in a town hall last week. Watch.
When we first did one of these seminars, Tom Homan, then actor.
Now, I wish we would have had that part, because I would love to see his response. He just probably says she's, dumb in a bag of rocks. He just probably said, he's had to respond to her. He didn't have to, but he has responded to her a couple of times. Huh? Oh, you want me to go Crockett? Okay, yeah, let's go to Jasmine Crockett. I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this, but I didn't have it in the lineup, Shannon. But we're going to go to Crockett right now because this is fitting. This is fitting. Here's another one that Tom Homan has responded to before. But Jasmine Crockett, she comes across, or she wants people to believe that she's so intelligent. She's no different than the white liberals. She's the same thing. She's the exact same way. She's hateful. She hates the law and order. She hates truth. She hates facts. Listen to what she says about people that have broken the law coming into the United States of America illegally. The U.S. Constitution says you've broken the law. That makes you a criminal.
It is not a criminal violation to enter the country illegally.
Oh my
goodness. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations.
On civil accusations. So she's basically saying that if someone gets pulled over because they were, drinking and driving, they shouldn't be deported for that. That's essentially what she's saying. That's 100% what she's saying. Or if someone's here in the country illegally and they're driving around without a driver license, she's putting it out there that they should not be arrested. They should not be deported. But that's exactly what she's doing.
And well, I actually looked it up. I'm like, okay, what is the law, right? So for a first time illegal entry, it says it is a misdemeanor offense under 8 U.S. Code 1325.
But you're still breaking the law. They say it's a misdemeanor offense,
correct.
But you're still broken the law.
Correct. You can get up to 6 months in jail and a fine. Now, if you've re-entered, you've been deported, you left and you come back, it is a felony offense under 8 U.S. Code 1326. The penalty is 2 to 20 years in prison, depending on your criminal history. And then overstaying a visa is not a criminal offense. It's a civil violation. That is true. But it can lead to deportation and a bar from re-entering the U.S. So in all accounts, it is illegal. She is and the sad thing is, Will, is she's supposedly a lawyer, and she's giving wrong legal advice to these people.
That's the part that's amazing to me. She's supposed to be a lawyer. She's supposed to be a lawyer. Hey, let me say thank you to Filter Dog on pill.net. I want to thank you so much for those gold pills. Thank you so much. As well as DB Productions. Thank you so much as well for those gold pills. And Braves Piano. Thank you so much. And Johnny Dangerously. Thank you so much for those gold pills. And Easy 3 cents. Thank you so much for those. And Donna, am I saying it right? Dono? Thank you so much. And again, Filtered Dog with another one. Thank you so much for the gold pill. I do see them. And thank you so much for being on pill.net. I love it. Thank you so much. And if you would, please hit that red pill too. Hit that red pill. All of y'all on there right now, hit that red pill, because the algorithms on red pill, on pill.net, they actually work as well. So please bless me by hitting the red pill. And I see you in the chat. I do look in the chats on here. And I thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, let me go to another one. This one is with Kristi Noem. Oh, she's so good. President Trump picked a cabinet this time that is phenomenal, because they're not backing down to the Democrats. See, President Trump's cabinet, first time when he was in office, a lot of people came to him, said, yeah, you want to get this person, you want to get that person, you want to get this person. And it was the deep state. And President Trump, he was thinking that everyone was like, okay, we're going to work on this. But it was the deep state that was putting people in position in President Trump's cabinet the first time. President Trump is not doing that this time. Listen to Kristi Noem getting questions about these anchor babies and how the Democrats are wanting to use this to keep people in the country that should not be in the country. If you'd have came through the front door, probably be a different story. But of course, they didn't do that.
Were any of the individuals who were deported, who had U.S. citizen children deported with them, were they given an opportunity to sign that form?
When these, the specific cases that you're referencing with these children, it was the parents' choice to take their children.
And did ICE
which it is the
follow
policy
through
of the
on the
Trump
policy?
administration to keep families together.
Did
That is what we have
ma'am, reclaiming my time. I told you at the top of this, ma'am, reclaiming my time. I said that the questions are really simple. Yes or no. Was that form used in any of those cases?
I will get back to you on that specific form.
Perfect.
I don't know the number, but I do know these mothers were on the record.
The second form, ma'am, reclaiming my time. Ma'am, please, ma'am, reclaiming my time. I'd like you to avoid the filibuster so I can get to all my questions, please.
Answering your questions.
So the second ICE form that I'd like to ask you about is ICE form 71-76, which is also it's pre-removal parental interests election form. Can you get back to me on that? Were all of the parents allowed to sign that? Are the parents allowed to speak to lawyers before they're deported, or to speak to their U.S. citizen spouses before they're deported?
They are given the opportunity.
Okay, so you can guarantee that every one of those parents.
We followed all the normal policies and procedures.
So they were allowed to talk to a lawyer. That's a yes.
As it is authorized.
Is that a yes? That's a yes.
Everything was handled appropriately and correctly.
But did they all get to talk to a lawyer? Okay, reclaiming my time.
Under the policy.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, I'm out of time.
Gotta love it. I was checking the audio. Did you catch me like this? Did you catch me like that? I was just listening in, make sure everything was working okay. But I mean, Kristi Noem is awesome. And you can tell that the Democrat, Veronica Escobar, she was getting highly agitated because Kristi Noem was not giving her the talking points that she wanted. She was not caving in to the nonsense. She wasn't caving into it. And I'm like, you know what? Good for her. 100% good for her. Now, let me bring something up that was upsetting to a lot of people. And this is Pam Bondi. And my producer and a whole bunch of people, she lost trust with a lot of people. But I've constantly said this, and I'm being clear, that I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, because look, we all can make mistakes. I think it was a mistake for her to come out and go on Fox News and all, and saying that, yeah, we got the documents, we're going to release them, and then they didn't have, they released what we already knew, right? And so a lot of people got upset with her with that when it came to the Epstein files. And I get it. I was a little upset too. I'm like, are you kidding me? But we all, it's still kind of a learning process, right? But now someone asked her about the Epstein files, because supposedly they received thousands and thousands of documents. Someone was asking her about it. When are you going to release the documents? Now she's doing what she'd have done in the first place, and not say that she's going to release anything. This is what she should have done in the first place. Just say, look, we're going through them. There's a lot of documents, so just hold tight. When we get to that point, we will release them.
James Comer said yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. We still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, they're reviewing. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
See, that's what she should have said the first time. They're diligently going through the Epstein files to see what they can find. And we already know that there's probably a lot of politicians in there, a lot of world leaders in there. There's a lot of stuff that's in there. So we already know we already know, right? They know, we know. She should have done it the first time with the Epstein files. Just come out and say that we're working on it, we're going through it, and you'll know later on. And then no one will be upset with it. Because there's a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, and they're piping mad. Conservatives are calling for her to be removed. But me, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give her the opportunity to redeem herself. Because look, when Will Johnson makes a mistake, I would like to think that you would give me the opportunity to redeem myself. Right? We're not harsh, are we? Now, we're piping mad. I get it, because she should have never came out in the first place. I completely get it. Not knocking it. Not knocking that at all. But I think we should give the benefit of the doubt here. We really should. We really should. All right, so let me share something else with you. And we're talking this again. This is about the due process, about the illegals, the criminals in the United States of America. And we're getting ready to run out of time here. But this was on Fox Business. Let me just play it and we'll talk about it.
I mean, we're talking roughly 20 million or so who broke the law, and there was no enforcement of the law from the Biden administration, which presented an even bigger issue because they were able to come here illegally without any issues at all. Bill Clinton deported 12.1 million during his presidency. 92 to 93% of those people he deported were sent back without a formal proceeding, aka due process. OK, so look to what President Trump said, 5 million trials. That's impossible. You can't do it. And the fact that these judges continue to get in the way and try to derail his deportation efforts, it's brutal because, you know, to Caroline's points earlier, the Manhattan Institute estimates an average net fiscal burden of $68,000 per illegal migrant, which actually goes up to $130,000 for those with lower education levels. That is a big drain on society. And one of the things that President Trump has mentioned is for these people who self-deport,